The malls of Basingstoke, home to 28-year-old Nicola Etheridge and a spending habit gone wild. Nicola shops so often, even the window displays are familiar friends.
Oh, I didn't see that in there. What? Black dress.
Despite earning around £30,000 a year as an IT account manager, Nicola's compulsion to splash out has landed her in hot water. She's also been shopping around for credit, racking up a whopping £20,000 in debt.
Now these are definitely me. It's not that I buy sort of expensive things, it's just that I tend to buy little and very often.
Debt doctors Jay Hunt and Benjamin Fry have just 4 weeks to put Nicola on the straight and narrow. Lifestyle expert Jay will show Nicola how to get the most value for money.
It's just starting to think in a different way, and if it ain't doing 2 jobs, it ain't going to be bought.
Psychological coach Benjamin will help Nicola pinpoint the reasons behind her compulsive spending.
You're actually sabotaging your financial security, which sabotages your emotional security, and even threatens the roof over your head.
Benjamin and Jay have got the tricky job of persuading Nicola to change her ways.
There will come a point where you can't pay everything. And that is the point that I don't want to get to. I don't want to get to the point where I am literally running and hiding from things.
Nicola lives in her own house in Tadley near Basingstoke with her boyfriend of 6 months, Nick. Over the last 5 years, every time she's run up a big debt on her credit cards, she's cleared it by remortgaging. Her precarious finances and growing debts are a real cause for concern and starting to threaten her dreams for the future.
I don't want to bring children into the world with debt around my ears, and at one point in time I might have a family or whatever, so I think you've got to rein yourself in at some point, and this is definitely my point in time where I want to think about doing it.
While she's out, Benjamin and Jay have borrowed the keys to her house to rustle up some inside information. Jay wants to find out where the money goes, and Benjamin will be looking for psychological clues that may reveal what Nicola's really like.
I think this may tell us more about the man that lives here. I have a feeling these kind of black units and large telly are pretty male.
Nick moved in 2 months ago and is fighting for prominence against Nicola's ornaments.
There's a confusion of style here almost, like 2 people live here and they haven't really gelled yet.
I'm not very good at throwing things away. Generally, I think maybe having somebody else in the house has made me realise I can't just have my stuff around everywhere.
Judging by appearances upstairs, Nicola's not rushing to make room for Nick.
Boyfriend gear?
4 shirts of the boyfriend's, full of her stuff there. These drawers, can I just say to you, are absolutely packed. It's like she's
Look at
everywhere.
this, there's more.
All this stuff, but it's...
Where's the bloke?
I tell you what,
We've seen 6 shirts from the bloke. Does he exist?
Lots of products, lots of products up here. Look, more.
What's all that stuff about?
Collagen retinol eye patch therapy, don't you know? She's only 28. These are the sort of things you'd find in somebody's bathroom at sort of 45.
So is that anti-ageing equipment?
Yeah.
She's only 28.
She doesn't kind of need it. I wonder whether she's just sort of heard about it and thought it's cool.
My next little adventure, I would actually like to have Botox injections.
Is that the top stuff for ladies?
What is quite interesting for me is that she's obviously obsessed with this whole anti-ageing. She's spending a fortune
More
on
of
products
that,
on
yeah,
anti-ageing. Well, that's not going to help.
Ah.
Ooh, statements.
Some financial information, finally. Debt.
I don't want people to think, oh my God, you know, she's completely irresponsible. It's not that I've been frivolous with, you know, and completely off the rails. It's just that I've been offered a lot of credit.
Look at it all. Phone bills, store cards, goodies for the house, £64, goodies for clothes wide, £19.98, clothes, £25, more goodies.
We should take these with us and start to investigate her financial situation.
What becomes immediately clear from Nicola's financial records is that virtually all the money she's borrowed has gone on bargain clothes and items for the house.
Candles, definitely. She loves her candles. Picture frames. I've never known a girl so made picture frames in all my life.
I can tend to justify in small amounts, but maybe a few of them, because I feel like I've done better that way than buying one big thing. I just think, oh, well, that's okay. And this is my downfall, and this is what has been said to me by many people, and that is that Nicola thinks it's all right to spend £8, £10, £3, £5. It's the fact that they all add up at the end of it that ends up getting me into trouble.
Keeping up with the latest gear is an all-consuming pastime.
Going shopping on a Saturday with my mum and my sister has pretty much been an institution since I was about 18. You know, I'm sure if we won the lottery, we would definitely be happy being ladies at lunch and go and get their nails done and go for a few cellulite treatments and that kind of thing.
Nicola can, of course, always rely on her mum to go shopping with her.
We have laughs while we're shopping. You can just be anybody you want to be while you're shopping.
What's that, an 8? No, this is a 10. No, I'm not buying 12.
I think also we communicate while we're shopping. I think it's a good way of communicating.
In fact, carefree shopping is a family characteristic.
It's the way we all are, you know. I think we're just as proud. Well, I suppose it's a case of, what the hell, really? Spend it.
And spend it she does, much to her mate's bemusement.
She buys clothes and she won't wear them. I mean, she's given me a couple of tops that still have the tags in them. You know, that's how bad she is.
We can always borrow things, though, when we go out, can't we?
She's always got something.
And we've always gone out in all her clothes. We always go out in Nicola's clothes.
Borrow this, borrow that.
Yeah. When we get ready, that's how we get ready at her house, isn't it? Yeah. Borrow her clothes, save our credit cards.
She's a big, big spender.
Clothes, shoes, magazines,
handbags,
makeup.
I mean, when we went on holiday last year, I think we went out with about 5 bikinis for the whole 2 weeks. Nick had a bikini for every day, plus a couple of others, just in case she changed her mind throughout the day.
I guess I don't want people thinking that that's all I've got, if that makes sense. I like to sort of go out in something new all the time.
Boyfriend Nick is seriously worried about her spending, and it's putting a strain on their fledgling relationship.
Oh, I like those.
So I can think of better things to spend £10 on, to be honest, than a bunch of sticks tied together with a ribbon.
If Nick gets cross, or not even cross, it's more disappointment. It's disappointment in a man's face when you've bought something that they know you don't need but you desperately want. And it just makes me feel like a child. I never wore this, and I really, really like it. That's still got the tags in.
Nicola may have hit the limit on her credit cards and bank loans with her £20,000 debt, but that hasn't stopped her borrowing a further £28,000 on her mortgage in the last year. £9,000 of which has gone on this natty little sports car.
I have actually thought of selling it over the last. I said to my boyfriend a couple of months ago, I need to sell it because I need the money. And then every time I look at it, I'm just like, no, I can't.
If she carries on like this, she could lose her house. It's time for some home truths. Benjamin and Jay want to show Nicola just how much money she's been throwing away with a shock tactic.
Hi, Nicola.
Hello, Nicola. How are you? Okay.
Benjamin, nice to meet you.
It's time to air Nicola's dirty laundry in public.
Come and have a look at this, OK?
Okay.
Just stand here. I want to show you all of this.
Nicola loves a bargain. She thinks nothing of spending over £200 a month on dozens of tops that she happily wears once and then discards.
It's £200 a month, which is £2,400 a year.
I'm sure that's not true, but I'll take your word for it.
It is true. Is that shock?
Oh, my word. Yeah.
Has that shocked you a bit?
Absolutely.
It's all those things that you're buying in your lunch hour thinking, oh, little treat, it is quite a lot. Now, come inside, because there's something else that we want to show you in here. Come with me, Nicola.
Come on, Nicola, have a look at this.
Okay.
Come into your own home.
Nicola's passion for buying bric-a-brac is more out of control than she thinks. These candles represent the money she's burning on gifts for the house.
The total expenditure for these 100 candles represents £3,600 per annum.
Okay.
It might be the time to just go, do you know what, halt.
All the sort of stuff that you have lying around here doesn't necessarily contribute to the essentials of life.
Well, I like candles and things, so I'm not... they do contribute to my quality of life.
Sure.
But they're not essential.
If Nicola's going to snuff out her spending, she'll need a little perspective. Radical measures are needed for this shopping addict.
How much do you think you spend in a week at the moment?
I couldn't put a figure on it. Maybe, I don't know, 100, maybe 200 a week.
Well, I've got some disappointing news for you, Nicola. It's not 100 quid. And it's not 200 quid.
It can't be more than that.
I'm afraid it's not even 300 quid.
It can't be more than that, there's no way.
I'm afraid it is £435.
And that's on non-essentials?
Yeah, I'm afraid it is. £435 actually looks like that. Not just a week, every week.
Right.
So that's quite a lot of money to get through while you think you're spending £100 to £200. Part of the reason for doing this is for you to identify what you really need and what you can't live without. So we'll set you a budget for that. We want to discuss with you how much you think that could be.
I would like to think that I could live on £100 a week, definitely.
Well, that was the first number you said that you were living on anyway. Try again.
50.
Try a bit harder.
Less than 50?
Yeah, indeed.
A week?
There is a number less than 50.
Just for 1 week, just for 7 days.
40?
That's not bad. Getting on quite well.
What we want to do is give you enough money that it's not ridiculous, so that you're just not going to feel on day one, what's the point of this? It's never going to happen anyway. I can't do this. It's to give you a challenge to rise to, but that is realistic.
Your prize, £40 in cash. You look a little bit miserable. Are you all right with this?
Yeah, it's fine. The only thing that worries me is the cigarettes, because if that is included in this, then that will literally be the £40 for 7 days. But £40 is definitely not a lot to live on. It's not even a night out. If I don't want to spend any money, I have to do other things that don't involve going into town, because that is my main weakness. Any town, doesn't matter where it is.
Can Nicola resist the shopping malls of Basingstoke? She'll need all the willpower she can muster to stick to her £40 budget. It's time to go cold turkey. It's day 1 of Nicola's cold turkey week, and rather than exercising her store cards with Mum, it's out to exercise the dogs with boyfriend Nick.
Come on then, come on in.
I don't think she'll do it. I think it'll be gone by Tuesday. And she's run out of cigarettes. So, and she always buys 5 packets at once. So that'll be it all gone straight away, really.
Well, there you go. I can't spend any more then, can I?
Hopefully she'll prove me wrong and she'll do it.
It is hard. It's not a lot of money. And I've bought a magazine and some headache tablets, and that's taken a £5 up already, and that's just like 1 day. So,
Is there any new magazines out during the week?
hopefully not. So I need a cigarette now.
Nicola was all set to have her hair cut and dyed this weekend at the cost of £85. But lumbered with cold turkey means she's gone from dye to DIY.
My hair dye was £5, and obviously I'm doing it, so it's free, and I'm not getting it cut. So no takeaways, no nothing. Nick said, right, you're on a budget, I'll cook, and you know, you can have a cheap night in. Thanks.
The next day, unable to resist the lure of the shops, Nicola's meeting up with her mum. With £30 to last the next 5 days, it looks less like a test of willpower and more like Mission Impossible.
Oh, hello. Cold. Hi there. Are you cold? Freezing. I also wanted to get a Saint-Tropez as well this month, but obviously I can't do that because that's £30. Bit of the old fake tanning.
think she'll cope, but I think there will be a certain amount of anger underneath. And when she gets home and she hasn't got any shopping, it'll be...
You haven't got any new things?
Yeah, I think her temperament could be a bit high.
Yeah.
Because, you know...
Going home from town with no bags is like kind of a lost trip, really. It's like that's the whole reason that you come in. I'm hoping that I won't buy anything today, and to be honest, I'll probably try and exert some kind of discipline. Look. Oh, I love these. Oh, that's not bad. £10. Oh, velvet throws, look at those. Oh, that's £35. Oh, look at these. £6.95. It's doable. And I really, really like it. In actual fact, I am going to buy that.
Thank you very much.
They're really cute. They're gorgeous. Everything's gorgeous in here. That's lovely. Thank you.
With only £13 left and 3 days to go, Nicola's decided to work from home. With an office right next to the shopping centre and a budget next to nothing, she can't risk the temptation.
Today was a bit crap, really. It feels worthless. You just think, oh, I'm staying in. OK, I might have saved £50 this week. So that's £50 off of however many £1,000 worth of debt you've got. And you just think, is it worth it? Because I'm still going to be sat here when I'm 50 paying off debts that I ran up when I was 25.
It's the final day of cold turkey and Nicola has cracked. She's just blown her £40 budget. Unable to kick her habit of buying in bulk, Nicola's bought 5 packets of fags.
They were non-essential items in some people's eyes, but not mine.
Benjamin and Jay checked out Nicola's home life, got her all shook up by her spending, and gave her a slice of cold turkey. But despite the free dog walks, she couldn't resist the china or the fags. Self-help writer Benjamin Fry takes a psychological approach to solving people's problems. He's interested in discovering what issues from a person's past might be affecting their present behaviour. It's time to step in and try to figure out what is driving Nicola's spending.
Yeah.
I get the sense that it does feel a little bit kind of compulsive or addictive to you.
Mm.
And often any kind of compulsion or addiction is usually symptomatic of something, underlying emotional issues, shall we say. Usually it's a kind of defence of some kind. Maybe we could think about what you might speculate could be going on underneath the surface, if you like.
It's definitely not something I can pinpoint. There isn't anything that I can tell you that will shed any light on why.
Convinced that Nicola's holding back, Benjamin tries a softer approach.
So let's talk about what happens when you go into a shop and you spend money.
With clothes, it's a case of if I feel something looks nice on, then I'll kind of be grateful that it looks nice on. It's like, oh, wow, that doesn't make me look like an elephant.
There's an implication in that you go into the shop and part of you is already thinking that you look like an elephant.
Most of the time.
Yeah. Maybe there's an underlying feeling of, did you'd be grateful to pretty yourself up on any given moment.
Yeah, if anything that I feel makes me look more presentable and looks better, I will always be tempted to buy it.
You see, that can help to explain the compulsive nature of really feeling you've got to have it. Because if you think about it, if you take a step back and you think, nice-looking woman walks into a shop, sees something she likes, buys it even though she can't afford it, that's a bit odd. But if you think, nice-looking woman walks into a shop thinking she doesn't look nice, sees something that makes her feel she looks nice, you can kind of understand more of the emotional connection of needing to have something. What I worry about that is that it's in the moment of transformation that you're pleased, but not in the lasting results of the transformation. Maybe we could think about what you might speculate could be making you feel that you need a transformation.
for a little while I was a little bit, not, by no means was I like overweight, but I was a little bit bigger than the average person, which obviously at that point in your life it's a major issue.
What's this, like 13, 14?
12, 13, and that sort of was all, I was always conscious of that, and I think I've always felt sort of a little bit less classy than most people. I admire people that sort of hold themselves really, really elegantly.
I think what you should think about is how you think about other people when you meet them. Do you really value their appearance very highly for a very long time? Do you judge people? Do you take people into your heart because of what they wear or what they look like?
No.
No. So, how can we make you remember that when you're tempted to buy stuff?
I don't know.
Well, you're going to have to do it, not me.
I don't know.
Well, the challenge, as I see it, is for you to remember that other people are just like you. And that they feel insecure about the way they look. And that actually they want a friend rather than a mannequin to be with them. Which, of course, some people actually resent.
Yeah.
It doesn't always make people like you if you look wonderful.
No, I guess not.
She was quite resistant in parts, and particularly I didn't feel it was appropriate to go very deep with her into that process. But she was interested in some of the more superficial aspects that we talked about, and that should really help her when she's shopping, understanding how her mind's working in those situations.
While Nicola's still reluctant to tackle the inner workings of her mind, she's more than ready to confront the inside of her wallet. Even she realises that her 13 credit and store cards are far too tempting.
We've got one for Mark 1, we've got one for Argos, Warehouse card, New Look card, Debenhams card, my fullback credit card, my work credit card, my joint credit card. I'll keep that one. And I don't mind getting rid of those.
Six down, 7 to go. Having made mincemeat of the week-long cold turkey, spending £20 over the £40 limit, it's time for Jay to map out a more realistic budget for Nicola's new regime.
This is the result of your new budget here. Clothes, you were spending £250 a month on all your sort of little purchases here and there. That's gone down to £50. How do you think that's going to feel?
£50 a month is virtually nothing really for clothes.
Hairdressing, you see, that's been cut down, £85 a month. That's gone down to 20. How will you feel about that?
I'm just gutted that I've got to this age when I should be able to go into the hair salon and the beauty parlour and go and have facials and stuff, and now they're literally written out. I know I've got to stick to this, even if I just do it for a few months.
But I think what we should maybe do is look on the positive, that you still can make some choices as to how you want to spend your money. It's just there's slightly less of it to spend now. There's nothing to stop you cutting back on smoking to pay for a top, deciding not to go out. You know, all of those things are sort of things for you to make up your own mind about, really.
Yeah.
Armed with a new clothes allowance of £50, Jay wants to show Nicola a new way to shop. It's about quality, not quantity. A concept totally alien to Nicola, who loves to spend less on more.
Entering in a calm state of mind.
I'm always in a calm state of mind, not when it comes to shopping.
Till you get to the till.
Nicola loves a bargain, but hates buying just the one item, which means a bigger bill, which outweighs the savings. Instead of spending £100 on 8 tops, she's got to spend just £50 on one.
Something like this. What would you think of something like that?
Yeah.
45.
See, I wouldn't spend that on a top.
You wouldn't spend that on a top?
Not a top that small.
OK. Well, we're going to take it down today. We're just going to have a look. Don't freak yet, OK? No, but it's interesting that you need to have more volume of material to make it worthwhile.
To justify a purchase. That sounds awful, doesn't it?
If Nicola's going to slash her clothing allowance by a massive 80%, she's going to have to shop wisely.
Again, it's a small top, £60.
This is a lot of money.
This is coming with us. Oh, £65. Off we go. Oh, look, we've grown up.
Yes.
Now, what do you think when you see yourself in that?
I'd have maybe bought this for going out.
I think the thing with this is that you're used to wearing something once and you get a compliment and then you don't want to wear it again. And I think maybe if we thought about dressing up things, you know, like a neutral black and white in different ways, so you get compliment for your whole look rather than focusing on the top. If we put like one of these little scarves, you know, around like that, it looks contemporary. Or, you know, statement handbag.
Like that. Yeah, this kind of brightens it all up. It's a bit of a statement, but just in the bag. I like this.
But do you see what I mean about getting it to do two jobs? It's just starting to think in a different way. And if it ain't doing two jobs, it ain't going to be bought.
I'm actually really surprised. I really like this. I think it looks quite... It does look quite grown up. I'm going to get this. No, there's endless possibilities.
See, leaving with one versatile piece. Excellent.
Going cold turkey has taught Nicola a valuable lesson about paper and plastic.
I'm interested to see how you're going to pay.
Oh, I'm going to pay with cash.
Ah.
It might help me see where it's going as well.
Have you started to do that, use cash a bit more? Would you have spent more, do you think, if you were using a card to pay today?
Yeah, because cards just don't really seem like real money.
There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye now.
Just one thing.
Yeah.
And no guilt, which is a bonus.
Well, yeah.
Benjamin's travelled to Basingstoke to visit Nicola's mum. As Nicola was so reticent talking to him, he's keen to find out some more clues.
Yeah, that was her at the caravan.
It's sweet, isn't it?
She always...
It's kind of how she looks today, that way, isn't
She
it?
always had to wear her sunglasses on her head.
Yeah.
She thought
Sophisticated madam.
Yeah.
Probably saw it in a magazine.
Knowing her.
It was Jackie O or something.
There's her dad.
Nicola's father died when she was 18 of asbestos poisoning.
Was he a good laugh with the kids?
Yeah.
Yeah, did he love all that?
He was always in the paddling pool with them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As well as her sister Jess, Nicola has a brother, Simon, who's severely disabled. He went into foster care when Nicola's father died.
If I thought Nicola suffered because of something that Simon was up to, playing up, I would always try and do something for Nicola. So she didn't.
What sort of thing?
Oh, goodness, buy her something.
The retail experience or the going out experience translates into...
I think that came out...
Where she got her affection.
I think that came out in both of us.
Yeah.
She used to be so careful. As a teenager, she worked really hard, but she was also very careful. She would never spend more than she had, or... This came after her dad died.
Interesting. When was that?
10 years ago.
She didn't actually bring that up.
She won't. She won't talk about her dad.
No.
The only place she is happy now is abroad.
Right.
In the sun, on the beach.
Which is where you used to go as holidays.
Exactly. And she used to do loads of underwater swimming with her dad, you see, snorkelling and all that.
She loves
used to do that. Yeah, she loves it. I just don't think she ever talked about losing her dad.
You didn't talk as a family?
You could, if Nick don't want to talk about it, you don't talk about it.
Yeah.
I remember phoning Nicola one Sunday and screaming and saying to her, I want them back. And that was my husband and Simon.
Really? And I think it's the most normal thing in the world for you want to scream at somebody, I want them back. When has Nicola ever picked up the phone and screamed at you, I want him back, Mum? You know, she seems like she's never had that moment.
No, I don't think she has.
So instead, something has to be done to replace that. And you've talked about that. For you, maybe it was spending. I think maybe
it is.
Yeah.
Looking for something that cheers you up or makes you feel better for that split second. And it is a split second.
It is, isn't it?
It's a split second.
People. Well, I thought June was a sweetheart, actually. I thought she was a really brave woman. She's had a lot of misfortune in her life, as have the whole family. And I think she's struggled with it, as people do. And I was impressed by how she now seems to be opening up a bit. And I think that should help Nicola. If Nicola decides she wants to open up a bit, then at least she can know that her mum is going through similar things and is opening up a bit herself.
Benjamin's come to meet Nicola's boyfriend Nick to get a better idea of why her spending is so out of control and how it affects their relationship.
To start with, she's very self-conscious.
Yeah, that's what she said.
She is very self-conscious. So, clothing-wise, she wants all the latest looks. She wants things that make her look slimmer.
Well, she always wants a new look, doesn't she?
She does, yeah. And obviously, she gets all her clothing ideas from all the magazines she buys. She buys a lot of magazines.
Does she spend a lot of money?
A lot of magazines, yeah. She does buy a lot. She can't possibly read them all. But...
Do you feel that her money issues kind of impinge on your relationship or your plans or your future?
I see her get depressed, and when she's down, I know there's nothing I can do.
Yeah, that's probably true.
I'm not in the position where I can pay all her debts off and make her happy.
Yeah. I do think that she's communicating something through sabotaging her life financially, because everything else in her life is great. You know, she's well educated, she's got a good job.
She's got a nice house, good job.
Yeah, she's got a nice boyfriend. You know, the things that women look at as being the things on the list of a happy life, she's got many of them. But she really is doing her best to sabotage it, isn't she?
She is, yeah. She does have a big dark cloud over that perfect life.
Yeah. I really get the feeling, having spoken to her mum, that it would help at least to talk a bit about the loss of her father. Because I just see a connection there between that and the money.
I think also with her losing her dad, she hadn't really no one to turn to as much as she trusted her dad, so that's probably affected a little bit.
Yeah, it's terrible to lose that one place that you feel you can go where you really feel you trust the person and you feel safe and secure and protected.
Benjamin suffered his own loss when he was very young with the death of his mother and understands the effect grief can have when left unchecked.
She may rip my head off when I talk to her about stuff, like her mum said, but if she doesn't, she might come home and rip your head off. So
I look forward to that.
I'll just prepare you for that. Oh.
Benjamin's now got a clearer picture of what's been going on in Nicola's life. And Jay's managed to get her thinking in terms of quality, not quantity. But is Nicola ready to start talking about the deeper issues affecting her spending? Benjamin and Jay are catching up to talk about Nicola's progress.
But I think... Do you find that she was open to suggestions, open to change? Was she open with you?
Yeah, she's been very sweet, very open. If I ask her a question, she will answer it. She's not sort of flippant and defensive. She does seem to be sort of taking it on board. Well, my stuff, anyway. Yeah. But
I went to see Nicola's mum and had a very interesting time with her because she actually revealed a great deal more about Nicola's spending habits and the events in her life that led up to them, much more than Nicola told me herself. And I think that one of the things I'm going to have to try and do is invite Nicola to be a bit more forthcoming, a bit more honest. I know it's difficult for her, but I do think there's a strong connection there between the way she's behaving and the stuff that she hasn't actually ever articulated.
Reassured by his conversations with Nicola's mum and boyfriend, Benjamin's planned an outing where he hopes she will feel comfortable enough to open up to him.
I'm about to take Nicola scuba diving, and I think it's going to be an interesting activity for her because her mother told us how much she loved the water. I also think that it's a great way for her to learn about alternative leisure choices at different costs, because it's not that expensive to go for this kind of initial lesson. But deeper than that, I think there's something about Nicola's early life when she had a lot of good family experiences while on holiday and around the water. I'm hoping that perhaps the sense memory of being in the water will help her to connect to some of the emotional issues with her family that she seems very distant from now. And following the scuba diving, I'm going to have a chat with her about some of those things, maybe bring some stuff up, and that might be difficult for her. So how does it feel when you're underwater?
Very relaxing.
Yeah.
Very relaxing. I just feel really silly stood here in this mask.
Yeah.
But the actual feeling itself is really lovely.
Is it nice the way that once you're underwater, do you feel like all of those anxieties that plague you just sort of drop away, like worrying about what you look like, all those things?
No, I'm still worrying about what I look like.
Even underwater?
My hair stood on end, yeah. Maybe I should get one of these at
That's
home.
amazing. I think you look great. You look sporting and you look happy.
I love being in the water and I love swimming and I love going on holiday, but I do always feel worse because I know that the things that I like doing, like being in the sea and snorkelling and stuff, are not particularly attractive sports.
Oh, you think they're not attractive? I think you look pretty cool.
No.
No, you're worried about how you look. So do you feel like doing this fun stuff you enjoy really compromises your extremely strict beauty regime?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
But that's just me.
Well, let's just try and relax, enjoy it, go with it, and let's get under the water so you can really just zone out and forget about all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I have to say, though, the reason that I suggested bringing you here today wasn't actually to get your makeup off. It was because I went to see your mum, as you may know, and we had quite a chat, and she was very sweet. But she did tell me an awful lot more about your family than you did when we first met. But I do think it's interesting. We discussed and speculated a little on whether or not losing that male frame of reference, that, you know, literally your father, the father figure, and the security that that brings with it, I don't know, possibly contributed towards a sense of loss of containment, loss of boundary. And it's like, from there you're able to just spend and spend and spend, and nobody has been there to say, hey, stop, rein it in.
I've never had any direction or advice.
I just think that the process of, shall we say, grieving and letting go of your father, which would have been hugely difficult at that age and that time, is not complete. And where something like that's not complete, we often find ways to, if you like, articulate it in a different way. Part of what happens when people die is that the grieving process involves a great deal of anger. And I think particularly in this country, we're very bad at being angry. And the reason I bring this up is because your mother actually said that she had a very significant kind of emotional breakthrough and moment in her life when she picked up the phone and screamed at you, I want them back. Do you remember that?
Yeah, vaguely.
And she's talking about your brother who's away in foster care and your father who sadly has passed away.
It's just one of those things, though. I find
But
it hard.
she got angry about it. Do you see? She was very depressed.
Yeah.
And then through that depression burst this rage, which she now acknowledges had been sort of repressed. And if you think about what happens when you repress your anger in one place, is you have to have a little bit of rebellion.
Even though it's painful for Nicola, after a short break and an opportunity to compose herself, she resolves to carry on. For the first time, she's willing to accept that the past may have some bearing on her behaviour.
With regards to the spending, I don't know. It It probably maybe fills a small gap.
Yeah.
Or maybe in my case, quite a large one.
You come from this culture and you have the personality that allows you to be very standoffish when you actually feel quite upset. And I think is that when you make that disconnection, it allows you to survive, but something's also lost.
Yeah, it's a survival instinct to carry on and get on with life. But at the same time, you haven't maybe... You just haven't...
Something's left behind,
given
though.
things out that maybe possibly would have enabled you to move on at an earlier time.
So you leave behind a piece of you, and it's that piece of you that I see screaming, raising the red flag, shouting at the cashier's till in High Street shop, "Hey, I'm still here, I want some attention."
But I really don't see it like that.
I know you don't, but that's because you're still carrying on spending the money.
Yeah, but I'm being better.
I know,
I've been a lot
I know.
better.
But I want to give you this as an idea. I'm not saying I'm right or I know anything about you that you don't know about yourself, but I want to plant these ideas with you so that 6 months down the line, when me and Jay aren't around anymore to say, oh, this, that or the other, and you find yourself a bit gloomy one Saturday afternoon and, oh, look, here you are in Topshop, I want you to be able to have these ideas as a recourse so that if you think, I cannot understand why I can't prevent myself from buying these 7 matching tops.
You have to have one in every shade.
Yeah. Try to remember this afternoon at the scuba centre and think, you know what? Maybe I'm actually angry about something and I need to just go and stand in a field and scream into the rain and the wind that I'm pissed off.
Yeah.
If you get the chance to talk to your mum about it, maybe that would help as well, because I've now had quite a good in-depth chat with both of you. But in the end, of course, it's you two that carry on together and not me. So.
Yeah.
After all that depth, Nicola retreats to the reassuring shallows of her glossy magazines.
I'm always attracted by articles that say they will make you look fantastic. I'm always attracted by articles that say you can lose weight in a week. I know that Natalie Imbruglia possibly doesn't necessarily look like that every day of the week. However, she does look absolutely stunning, and in all of the L'Oreal adverts, for example, because I do use their stuff, the foundations, everything, just promise the world. I am a little bit, how shall we say, gullible when it comes to advertising, because you just want to be like that person.
Nicola's been spending over £100 a month on makeup and is a sucker for any product that's been endorsed by a celebrity. Jay wants her to find her own style and has some practical tips to save her money.
Welcome to Girl World, Nicola, somewhere you're familiar with, I know.
Nicola's been used to wearing a generous amount of makeup, taking a toll on her skin as well as her bank balance.
Do you think it's a confidence thing as well? Do you feel that you sort of, you wouldn't leave the house without your makeup on?
As far as I'm concerned, it has to be a full face of slap before I'd even attempt to put my head out the door.
And what do you think people would be looking at if you didn't have?
I just think I've got really awful skin.
Jay wants to help Nicola lose her mask. She's hoping a natural makeover might give her the confidence to stop hiding and trust in her own beauty.
I am so sorry that you've got the job of taking all this off.
What Carrie's going to do is use one of these products, which is a foundation and a concealer all in one. But rather than do that whole sort of mask that you do, we're just going to put it on your T-zone and just even out the skin tone rather than completely mask it all up, OK?
Nicola's reliance on 2 different foundations and a concealer normally costs her £42 a month. Using one product that does both jobs costs just £17.
Now, what Carrie's using here for your cheeks is one of these 3-in-1 products that you can use on your cheeks, you can use on your eyes, and you can use on your lips. So for 16 quid, 3 jobs in 1 tube, good economising. Now, I know you like your lipsticks, quite sort of almost traditional lipsticks, don't you? What we're going to do here is just show you a really, really natural-looking gloss, just with a hint of pink. So you can wear it on its own, but you can also wear it over other lipsticks. So again, it's that thing of thinking, it's going to do 2 jobs for you. OK, Nicola, come and have a look. And come and see. I know you're nervous.
This is probably the worst bit of the whole thing so far.
Do change is difficult, and your instinct is to not like change. So the fact that you've given this a go and gone with it and been prepared to be open-minded about that, you know, that's been a success because you've done that. Now see if it looks like you.
Yeah, it does look like me, I guess. But I just, I don't know.
It's all right, go, take a couple of minutes.
I like the cheeks, albeit maybe a little bit more. And I do like the lips. I think the colour would take some getting used to.
Okay.
I just still feel that I'm still a little bit naked under here, and that's what it is. You feel vulnerable because you think people can see underneath what you wouldn't want them to.
Despite her fears, Nicola manages to leave relatively unscathed, with a brighter complexion and more change in her purse. Back at home, practising Jay's natural look isn't going quite so well.
I hate being like this. I think... I don't know. It doesn't look too bad at the moment. But it's certainly not a look that it's certainly not a look that I'm interested in, put it that way. My chin, ooh, it's horrible. I'm smothered in spots at the moment. And the idea is, and I'm not going to do this on camera because I'll look a real pleb, but you should sit and smile at your reflection and basically, I'm going to smile now, and basically just get the rounds of your cheeks. Now I know this because I read long magazines.
The less is more approach could take a lot of getting used to.
That's my take on the natural look. It doesn't look too bad. I'm not overly embarrassed with it. I'm not happy to go out like it, no. However, have long hair, and hopefully that may cover some of the imperfections up. Anyway.
With her new face on, Nicola tests her self-control at the shops, with her sister Jess as a chaperone.
Can you imagine this and those shoes? You would look very classy.
That is nice.
That's nice. I'm not buying any more jeans to lose weight. I do like that. What? That cardi. I really do like that. You could wear that with so many things. Want that cardigan. Shall I try it on? No. I am tempted to try it on because I know that it would go with so many things. I think I should. No, I won't. Because I will end up buying it. See, this would be more of an Etheridge sensible purchase. I don't know. It's nice. I don't really think it does look for me, to be honest. So...
With her new mindset and resolve, Nicola's making a real breakthrough.
I'm kind of hoping that I might see something swimming, but I don't think I'm going to.
It's the final week, and Nicola's taken on Benjamin's advice to talk to her mum about her dad. They've come to Highcliffe in Dorset, a place where they used to spend family holidays. It's full of memories of her dad.
Well, we haven't done this for a long time. I don't think I've been to the beach with you for a long, long time.
Because you were the first child, you were the older child. You know, Dad literally adored you. Absolutely. There's nothing like his Nicola. Even as a young girl, you were always quite cautious about what you did, and Dad would talk to you about it, wouldn't he? About what you wanted to do and your jobs and...
Yeah.
Because I was probably busy with the other two, you would talk to Dad about it, and I think that's how university came into it. Because you could sit and talk to Dad about university. So yeah, I think you and Dad were very close.
Yeah, I can remember. It always seemed to have warmer days then.
I think you had a longer summer.
Better summers.
Nicer, longer summers, yeah. And you're swimming. You had that in common. He adored water and so did you. And you're snorkelling and...
Yeah.
I can still see you two coming back with that octopus. Do you remember that octopus?
Yeah. I was fearless then. I'm a little bit more wary now, but I didn't give a shit.
You were gone for hours.
I didn't give
that
2
day.
hoots then. That was lovely.
What, when you came back with that octopus?
It's strange because I was quite young for somebody to be snorkelling out and about. But I suppose when you're with your dad, you don't actually think of danger. Do you know what I mean? If somebody else is leading you along, then that's what you do because you don't worry. But I wouldn't go out that far on my own now. And I do get a bit panicky now.
Don't you think that is possibly what happened to all of us? When Dad was here, we were protected. And when Dad died, we were very vulnerable.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And I bet it's absolutely freezing. Yes, although not as cold as I thought. No, I think I shall have to come down to the beach again.
It's the end of Nicola's 4-week trial. So what lessons has she learnt over the last month?
Highcliffe was nice. It was nice to go back there. It hasn't changed at all. And it was nice just chatting and reminiscing a little bit, I suppose. If you do go through a bereavement, you do tend to adopt the theory that you could get hit by a bus tomorrow. And I have adopted that for a very long time. That's why I smoke too much, that's why I spend too much. And I think possibly me, my mum and my sister are very much the same. I guess the difference now is what I could have done with all that money and what I'm going to do in the future. So it's kind of like, yeah, I appreciate that I could actually get knocked down by a bus tomorrow. However, I would actually quite like a family and I would actually quite like a house with a bit of land and that kind of thing. So I guess, in a way, it's probably helped me to think more that way. I'm not so focused on the here and now.
4 weeks ago, when Benjamin and Jay first met Nicola, she was spending £435 a week on stuff she didn't need and, more importantly, couldn't afford. All her relationships seemed to revolve around spending and looking good. Benjamin and Jay have come to say goodbye to Nicola and to see what changes she might have taken on board during the time they spent with her.
Hello.
Hi.
Nicola.
How are you?
How are you?
Very well.
Nice to see you.
Wow, that's nice.
Yeah. Wow,
Few changes.
look at this.
A few changes, yeah.
Some work's been going on here. This is very
Nice.
different, isn't
and
it?
finished too.
Yeah. Wow. Look at this. You've got all your chairs sorted and everything. It's like a really nice, proper dining area.
This is a nice use of the space. Whereas before, I can't really remember there being anything in here that was really functional.
It was a dumping ground for
Yeah,
quite a while,
it
yeah.
was.
We really got our finger out and sorted it out.
This feels to me much more homely.
Well, I like homely.
When we first met you, you were spending £430 a week on completely unnecessary items. Do you sort of think now you could remember what you were spending that money on?
No, I can't. I don't know where it went.
So getting back to the brass tacks of all this, how has this actually manifested itself in your financial position?
I asked the bank to decrease my overdraft by £500 last month, and I've used half of that overdraft this month. So my overdraft has actually gone down by two-thirds.
Wow.
Which is a huge difference. And
Does it weight off your mind?
yeah, absolutely. I've kind of got to the stage now where I think there are probably slightly nicer things I could be doing than going into a completely packed shop on a hot, in a hot environment, and having, I guess, to really think about whether I need something.
You no longer seem to be worried that once you're in a shop, you're going to be incapable of coming out without something.
I think I've just reassessed a little bit as to what's important, and
I would rather spend time here, or I'd rather spend time with people.
Of course, the more you connect with other people and the more you enjoy those free experiences in life, those natural experiences, those natural highs, the less you need to stimulate them and simulate them, for example, by shopping. So it seems a very positive development.
Hopefully. I like talking to people. I'm not as comfortable at keeping things to myself as I used to be, so obviously something's changed. I now feel the need to talk, whereas before I felt the need to shut up.
1 month on and things are looking good. Rather than stirring up unwelcome tension between Nicola and her boyfriend Nick, money is no longer a thorny issue. In fact, they're even looking for a house to buy together.
If you like that place there, I'll convert that double garage and that property there to look like that one there. You live there, I live in the house with the dogs, you have all the smelly cats. Now, because her spending's toned down, she's more sensible, she's surprised now when she sees actually how much she hasn't spent, which is good, which is, you know, it puts a smile on her face straight away. So there's not that bit at the end of the month where she gets a little bit depressed now. It seems almost as if she's looking forward to a statement to see how good she's been all month, which is nice.
No. Yeah. All right then. Yeah. If you want to be a friend,
you want us to get along. I've got a week and a half left till payday, and as it stands, I'm £200 overdrawn, which is bloody good. Bloody good, in fact.